Padam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanati mirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Janganam Vyaktam Yatkinchit Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhavaji Yapi Yat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvashruti Shiroratna Virajita Padambujaha Vedantambuja Suryoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Yomatito Niranjanaha Bindunada Kalatita Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnana Shakti Samaruda Tatvamala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradatacha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Aneka Janma Samprakta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atma Jnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shoshanam Bhava Sindhoscha Vyapanam Sara Sampadaha Guru Padodakam Samyat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha Tattvajnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Manata Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru Radhiranadisha Guru Paramadevatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Guru Mata Pita Guru Bandhu Sakha Tere Charanam mein Swami Mere Koti Pranam. Guru Mata Pita Guru Bandhu Sakha Tere Charanam mein Swami Mere Koti Pranam. Guru Mata Pita Guru Bandhu Sakha Guru Mata Pita Guru Bandhu Sakha Tere Charanam mein Swami Mere Koti Pranam. 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 Priyatam Matumi Pranana Hatumi Priyatam Matumi Pranana Tatumi Priyatam Matumi prananaha tumi,
Priyatama tumi, prananaha tumi.
tere charanon mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
Tere charanam mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
Tere charanam mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
Tere charanam mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Tere charanam mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
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 Tumi Bhakti ho, Tumi Shakti ho,
Tumi Bhakti ho, Tumi Shakti ho.
Tumi Mukti ho, Tumi Shakti ho,
Tumi Bhakti ho, Tumi Shakti ho.
Tumi Mukti ho, mere Samba Shiva.
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 Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Tere charanam mein Swami, mere koti pranam.
Tere charanam mein Swami, tere koti pranam.
Tumi prema, Tumi sadhana,
Tumi prema, Tumi sadhana.
Tumi prema, Tumi sadhana,
Tumi prema, Tumi sadhana.
Tumi aradhana, mere Samba Shiva.
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 Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Tere charanam mein Swami, mere koti pranam.
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 Tumi prema ho, Tumi karuna ho,
Tumi prema ho, Tumi karuna ho.
Tumi prema ho, Tumi karuna ho,
Tumi prema ho, Tumi karuna ho.
Tumi moksha ho, mere Samba Shiva.
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 Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Tere charanam mein Swami, mere koti pranam.
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 Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha,
Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha.
Tere charanam mein Swami, mere koti pranam.
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 Guru Mata Pita, Guru Bandhu Sakha, Tere charanam mein Swami, mere koti pranam. Om Mahavatara Shishaya Namaha, Om Vishamaya Namaha, Om Devakalya Samajataya Namaha, Om Sukshmatanave Namaha, Om Chinmayaya Namaha, Om Gurulmutaye Namaha, Om Sundaraya Namaha, Om Suruchanaya Namaha, Om Sumukaya Namaha, Om Sharuhasaya Namaha, Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Padmambujaya Namaha, Om Mandagamanaya Namaha, Om Charumbadaline Namaha, Om Ramaya Namaha, Om Madhyastapakaya Namaha, Om Shriyobabakshakaya Namaha, Om Gayatri Yashvane Namaha, Om Arpanashvikarakaya Namaha, Om Vishnu Pujakaya Namaha, Om Namo Narayani Mantropasakaya Namaha, Om Swaramaya Namaha, Om Madhurakantaya Namaha, Om Krishna Sankirtanarlupaya Namaha, Om Stotra Priyaya Namaha, Om Mitabashine Namaha, Om Vagmine Namaha, Om Shitakala Visharadaya Namaha, Om Ratadaraya Namaha, Om Sadave Namaha, Om Jagatpantaya Namaha, Om Sarvalokaitai Namaha, Om Bhakta Priyaya Namaha, Om Surdaya Namaha, Om Anukulaya Namaha, Om Neyaya Namaha, Om Sudarshanaya Namaha, Om Bhaktavatsalaaya Namaha, Om Premamurtaye Namaha, Om Shubhekshanaya Namaha, Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha, Om Svasidayakaya Namaha, Om Tarakaya Namaha, Om Anugrahaya Namaha, Om Vardhanaya Namaha, Om Architaya Namaha, Om Artaya Namaha, Om Siddhipradaya Namaha, Om Janardhanaya Namaha, Om Manoharaya Namaha, Om Mahakshaya Namaha, Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha, Om Vasmabhushitaya Namaha, Om Atmalingaya Namaha, Om Ligachana Prasakaya Namaha, Om Siddhisadanaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Omkaropasakaya Namaha, Om Sukshmaya Namaha, Om Vishokaya Namaha, Om Satyakaya Namaha, Om Samadarshine Namaha, Om Dakshaya Namaha, Om Achintyaya Namaha, Om Nirankaraya Namaha, Om Nirmohaya Namaha, Om Avyagraya Namaha, Om Jitakrodaya Namaha, Om Vinashilaya Namaha, Om Svavashaya Namaha, Om Kushalaya Namaha, Om Shamaya Namaha, Om Satyadharmaya Namaha, Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha, Om Viraktaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Satyasandaya Namaha, Om Pavitraya Namaha, Om Madhura Svabhavaya Namaha, Om Suranandaya Namaha, Om Nandanaya Namaha, Om Prasanatmane Namaha, Om Bhaktanidaye Namaha, Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogine Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaya Namaha, Om Somyaya Namaha, Om Guyaya Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha, Om Gabiraya Namaha, Om Guptaya Namaha, Om Atmaramaya Namaha, Om Srinivasaya Namaha, Om Devaya Namaha, Om Dhyutidaraya Namaha, Om Danyaya Namaha, Om Gurave Namaha, Om Duratikramaya Namaha, Om Gahanaya Namaha, Om Bhagavate Namaha, Om Arisharanamargadashakaya Namaha, Om Kuchasadagatakaya Namaha, Om Adiprayaya Namaha, Om Sarvamata Samatyaya Namaha, Om Shamakatabalavadakaya Namaha, Om Premavatara Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Mato Deva Avantono Yato Vishnu Vichakrame Pritivya Satta Dhamalihi Idam Vishnu Vichakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samudhamasya Pagum Sure Trini pada vichakrame Vishnur Gopada Avyaha Tato Dharmani Dharenne Vishnur Karmani Pashata Yato Vidrani Paspase Indrasya Yujasakaha Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padagum Sada Pashanti Suryaha Diviva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagruvagum Sasamindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Premavatāraya Vimahe Sadguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavatāraya Vimahe Sadguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavatāraya Vidmahe Sadguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Vakatunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat.
Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhusudana Ketabare Narayana Chataki Vikrama Chakrapane Deyadi Sachadara Shidara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Supravatam Shri Rukmini Sabhavanasa Hare Murare Radesha Gopisha Surupa Brahmani Vanya Shivarakasha Vaikunta Pade Bhuvane Kamurte Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Supravatam Nina Krite Kamatarupa Varana Murte Tre Vikramaya Guhane Bre Rama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalki Rupa Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Supravatam Govinda Madhava Mukunda Paratparesha Damodara Chadarananda Kadarishori Gopa Gopi Jana Samrita Dina Bando Gopi Jana Priyaraye Tava Supravatam Shirati Shain Bhujagadi Patalpa Shain Sadbhakta Ritsadana Shain Ramanga Shain Shri Gopa Vama Murdatalpa Sujadi Shain Gopa Vallabharaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Kashyapatri Sukhanarada Gotamadi Ramarshi Sangamani Sangava Bharatesho Tishtanti Deva Tava Darshana Bhagya Heto Gopala Shekararaye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Jadi Tulasi Dala Malikadyahe Malyani Anjali Putre Samudaharanti Tishtanti Tvattvavatadara Tale Munindraha Radha Manohararaye Tava Suprabhatam Sankirtayam patati Gotamakana Guyaha Gayanti Satgunagano Varada Shabhagraha Sankirtayanti Tavanama Kadashi Sheshaha Shri Naradari Rishaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhano Dharana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopi Janamrita Sudesha Bhavati Pota Triloka Mohana Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukmini Shabarada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vatsachina Sharanagata Parijata Bhaktarti Vanjana Kripakara Dina Bando Divyanta Gayati Jana Priya Divya Rupa Shri Nanda Gopatanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padma Mukha Padmadara Prameya Padmalaya Sarita Padma Nivasa Shori Padmo Bhavati Surasevita Pada Padma Padmadinata Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vrindantare Niraranaya Mahendra Vanya Kandharpa Dharpa Haratiya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Sita Chandana Lipya Deha Govinda Yadava Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nanda Nandana Yashoda Kumara Dhira Mayanga Dina Davichona Supushpahara Nilambuda Sushanira Rama Vihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vaishi Jambhavati Satya Sugati Bandra Shri Mitra Vinda Divasha Prabhu Putri Kanyahe Ishtanti Divya Bhavame Tava Seva Nardam Gopi Mana Priyaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Achyuta Ananta Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chakrapane Namani Divya Munayurna Nishambhadanti Brahmi Muhurta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Patanti Haranisham Bhuri Kritam Mahapapam Shri Krishna Grahe Tuha Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Govindamani Purusham Tamaha Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Chintamani Prakarasatma Shukyalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritesha Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sarasa Sata Sambrasa Veyamanam Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kalantam Aravinda Radaya Taksham Paravatasamachitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Kotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandrakala Sattvala Maya Vansi Ratnagaram Pranayakeli Kala Vilasham Jayam Tribangalalitam Diyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vitrimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Shiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sayujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Advaitamachutamanadim Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayoratapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sobhyaste yat prapadasimyana chintatadve. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ekopya sora chayitum jagaranda koti. Yakshakshirasti jagaranda chayayanantaha. Andharatam paramano chayaranta dashtam. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yadvava Bhavita Diyo Manujastateva Sampraya Rupa Marimasanayava Bhushaha Shukteryameva Nigama Pratitestu Vanti. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tavirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi Goloka Eva Nivasati Tanati Bhuto. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santasa Deva Hidayesho Vilokayamni Yashama Sundarama Chincha Guna Svarupam. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishtam Nanavatara Makarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Svayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagaranda Koti Otishvashesha Vasudare Vibhuti Vinam Brahmanishkalamanantamashesha Bhutam. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Maya Yasya Jagaranda Satani Sute Pregunyata Vishaya Veda Vitayamana Sattva Valambi Parasattva Vishuddha Sattva. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmayama Asu Yapraninam Pratiparam Svarata Upeja Lila Yedena Bhuvanani Jayata Jasa. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Golokanam Nidhichatam Nidhare Satasya Devi Mahesha Hariteli Teshu Teshu Tete Prabhava Nichaya Dehetascha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Jayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibhakti Durga Ichana Rupam Abhiyasya Chatestatesa. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Chiram Yadada Divikara Vishesha Yoga Sanjaya Bhakta Pravisyasya Hetoho Yasam Bhutam Abhitatastamupadikarya Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Dipashireva Ishashantarama Gupetya Dipaya Devi Vrindaeva Samana Dharma Yasta Dregeva Isha Vishnu Daya Vibhati Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yakaranam Avataram Virita Sanyoga Nidam Ananta Jagaranda Saroma Kupa Andara Shakti Kavaram Yaparam Samurti Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yaste Kanisha Sisatala Matavalamya Jivanti Loma Viraja Jagarandanataha Vishnur Mahansa Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Vasvamya Tasma Sakale Yumitu Sajeshaha Shriyam Priyatma Pitraya Girti Tadasra Ramaya Esha Jagaranda Vidana Karta Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpala Pala Vayugam Vinidaya Kumbha Tande Pranama Samaye Sajagati Rajaha Ehnam Vihantu Malayasya Jagatrayasya Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Arke Mahika Gamana Bhumaruti Shasha Kalasta Tatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmat Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yakshakshuresya Savita Sakala Brahmana Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Tejaha Yasya Naya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakro Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmota Papa Nichaya Sutayastapamsi Ramani Gita Pratakava Dayascha Jivaha Yadata Matra Vidava Prakata Prabhava Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yakvinda Gopa Makalenda Mahosa Karma Bandana Rupa Parabara Manata Noti Karmani Nirnahati Kintu Chabhakti Vajan Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yakroda Kama Samaja Pranayani Vidhi Vatsalya Mola Guru Gaura Vasevya Vadahe Sanchitya Tasya Sadishinta Noma Purete Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. Welcome to this Bhagavatam Satsang. So, from today, it's one of the last verses of the Bhagavatam from the Canto 12. It's a Yogindraya Namastasme Shukaya Brahma Rupini Samsara Sarpadashtamyo Vishnuratam Amu Muchat. So it's a, I offer my humble obeisance to Sri Sukadev Goswami, the best of mystic sages, and a personal manifestation of the absolute truth. He saved Maharaj Parikshit, who was bitten by the snake of material existence, the snake of samsara. So the topic I want to talk this morning is about Dharma. What is Dharma and the different way to see them, to see it, and especially what is the Bhagavata Dharma, what is the Dharma of the devotee Dharma, let's say. In the time of the Bhagavatam, we can see in the very beginning, it was all about yagna. There's a lot of yagna. And the Dharma was very much to do yagna, actually. So there is some definition. Some say Dharma is to do yagna for the Deva, Agni, Indra. And by this, you will get all the benefits, and that is Dharma. That is the way to live. That is what we should do with our life, human life. Because as we might know, like the Veda, they were divided into karma and jnana-kanda. So they were following the, let's say, ritualistic part. They were saying that's all there is. That's the best thing. And all the rest is good, but doing yagna and getting to this celestial realm to enjoy, this is the goal. But the Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, it goes against this idea. Because in the very beginning, we see that there is a lot of sages, they are together, and they are doing this yagna. But they are not fulfilled. They are not fulfilled. They just see and they get some results, but it's not what they want. And they do this yagna for thousands of years. And then they saw sage Sutta coming. And so they ask him, but what is the real Dharma? What is what is really what we should do with our life, human life? Because we do this yagna, but there is nothing in there. It's not what we want. And so that's why the Bhagavatam come. Due to this many questions of the sage, the Bhagavatam come. Because there is many definitions of Dharma in almost all the scriptures. There is one, like Mahabharata, they will say Dharma is this, this, this. Even the old texts like the Manusmriti, all this, they have a definition also. But the definition of Dharma in the Bhagavatam is very different. It's much more fitting to what we do with Goji. And so the sages, they ask, what is the real Dharma? And the answer comes, which is very beautiful. He say, the real Dharma is to practice what will awake love for Vasudeva, for Krishna. So whatever we do that awake this love is Dharma. So this Dharma is actually Bhakti. So Bhakti is the Dharma in the Bhagavatam. And this Bhakti can be simplified as putting the mind on God, doing everything to get our thoughts on God, but not in any way. And I think Ramanuja was one of the first to make that clear. He said it's not in any way. We should not think of God in any way. It's thinking of God with priti, with affection, with love. And thinking of God with love, this is basically Dharma in the Bhagavatam. This is what can fulfill the human life. This is the goal of human life. And so we can see it's very much what Goji say also. It's very much the definition of Dharma that we have in Bhakti Marga. Because Guruji said we all have our own activities in life, on the outside. But we have one common activity, all of us, which is bhakti. And we should infuse all that we are doing with this bhakti. So this is basically Bhakti Marga Dharma, we can say. this way of seeing that. And how this Dharma is applied is very interesting in the Bhagavatam. And I will come to the verse actually for today, but for those of you maybe who don't know the story of the Bhagavatam, there was a king, King Parikshit, and he was a very, very good king, very great king, very virtuous, everything. But one day, due to some influences, he got cursed by a sage. And the curse was that he will die in 7 days. And so he renounced everything, and he went to the bank of the Ganges, and there many sages gather around him, and he started to listen to the story of Narayana, the story of Krishna, for 7 days. And the Bhagavatam is all this story actually. It's the recitation of all these stories. And normally that's how we see Bhagavatam. The story of King Parikshit, and one of the meaning we take is that, when we have only a little time to live, the best thing to do is to put the mind on God and listen to the story of God. But here in that verse, there is a different meaning which is given. Because Parikshit was meant to die by a snake. A snake will come and bite him. But here the verse says that the snake was not actually a snake. It was the snake of samsara. It was the snake of death, birth, this cycle of life. And these 7 days, they actually represent our whole lifetime. Like the time we have between birth and death. So we all are in this situation of Parikshit. We will, because we have a body, and as Krishna say, because we are born, we will die. And that is, we are all in this situation. So in the same way as in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna stands for all of us. In this context, King Parikshit also stands for all of us. He is there, he has only a certain time to live that we don't know. And at the end, he knows the snake of death basically will bite him, and he will have to give his body away. His body will have to go. So, So how to live our life. This is the way, this is what the Bhagavatam is saying. What we should do during this time which is given to us. And that's why I was discussing this Bhagavatam Dharma. Because they say for someone who knows he will die, which is basically for all of us, the best things to do is to use all this time to put the mind on God, to listen to his story, and to attach to him. And that's the only way to get freed from that, basically. And that's the quickest way, the surest way, as Goji say. Because Krishna say, at the time of death, what we will think is what we will attain also. And he also says that what we think is what we have spent our time with during our life. So the more we choose to engage with the outside, the more our mind will be on that. I was reading, I think Shivananda was saying that. He was saying, for example, somebody who got super addict to black tea. It's a funny example, but. And if he's very, very addict, he might think of it when he dies. So he might be dying, and in this process, the consciousness is going away, and all the attachment came out. And if he's so addict, he might think of a black tea when he dies. And he was saying that in his next birth, he will become, for example, the owner of a tea company. or if he has good karma. And if he has done also bad things, which doesn't give him such a nice position, let's say, with a lot of money or whatever, he will become one of the people who work in the field to produce the tea. But it will be linked with this addiction he had. So in the same way, Krishna say, those who think of me, they attain me. And the whole Bhagavata Dharma, the whole Dharma of the devotee is to live a life that will allow us to put our mind on God at the last moments. In many ways, the life is just a preparation for death. It seems a bit dry like this, but in many ways, that's what it is. And in Bhakti, there's also beautiful things that this last thought at the time of death, we know it's not, we do our best to practice whatever we can. But we know that at the end of the day, it's not on us. If the Lord wants, and we have seen that with Guruji, many times devotees pass away, he says he is there to take them. So this last thought at the time of death, actually by the grace of the Guru, by the grace of the Lord, he himself will arrange that we think about him. But this is only with Bhakti, only when we practice this Bhagavata Dharma, this most beautiful actually way of life. And this we see the results of this, of practicing this Bhakti, this path of Bhakti in Parikshit actually. Of what is the result of listening to his story during our life, meditating, doing japa, chanting the name. Because Parikshit, before the snake come, he spoke 2 verses. He spoke a bit more, but there is 2 verses very, very beautiful. He said to Sukadev, who was his guru basically, he said, my Lord, I have no fear of Takshaka, the snake of death, or any other living beings, or even of repeated death, because I have absorbed myself in that purely spiritual absolute truth which you have revealed and which destroy all fear. So in the first verse he say, he has no fear at all. So it showed the devotee who is there in front of death, who has no fear at all. He is completely in peace, completely in peace. He say, due to this meditation you have given me, due to the story the Guru has given us, due to the practice he has given us, there is no fear anymore. And then he say, O Brahmana, please give me permission to resign my speech and function of my senses in the Lord and absorb myself in him, purified of lust and everything, and thus give up my life. So it's very beautiful. He requests all these sages around him. He says, please let me put all my senses inside, think only of him, and give up my life. And that's such a beautiful end of life now for a devotee. To be in such a peace, to be in such a joy, because Parikshit was in such a joy. It said he was in ecstasy. It was like he knew he will die, but nothing was touching him. And he was basically saying to his Guru, thanks for everything you have given me. I am rid of all fear. Please allow me to go inside and leave this body and attain you. So yeah, that was my take on the Bhagavata Dharma, like what is the way of living in this Bhagavatam. Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Kavangara Kamala Hare Nakama Sringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nasingare 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 Jaya Nasingare Jaya Nasingare 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 Jaya Nasingare Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri 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 Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Shri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Shri Vishwananda Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai
Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Rama Brahmahani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Rama Brahmani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Rama Brahmahani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Rama Brahmani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Rama Brahmahani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Rama Brahmani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe Jai Ambe Jagadambe
Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Jai Ambe Jagadambe Mata Bhavani Jai Ambe
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Dukkha Vinashini Durga Jai Jai Kala Vinashini Kali Jai Jai
Parama Brahmahani Jai Jai Radha Rukmini Sita Jai Jai
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangalame Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangalame Prapatidame Karataya Mangala Mangalame Prapatidame Karataya Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangalame Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangalame Tridandadarine Godakachaya Mangala Mangalame Tridandadarine Godakachaya Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Range Sakindaya Rataya Mangala Mangalame Range Sakindaya Rataya Mangala Mangalame Mananataya Darine Daraya Mangala Mangalame Mananataya Darine Daraya Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Om Jai Jagadisha Hare Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bhakta Janon Ke Sankata Dana Janon Ke Sankata Jana Me Dura Kare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jo Jave Phala Pave Dukkha Vinase Manaka Swami Dukkha Vinase Manaka Sukha Sampatti Gara Ave Sukha Sampatti Gara Ave Krishna Vijetananda Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Mata Pita Tuma Mere Sharanagahum Nahi Saki Swami Sharanagahum Nahi Saki Tuma Bina Aura Na Duja Tuma Bina Aura Na Duja Asa Karum Nahi Saki Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Purana Paramatma Tuma Antarayami Swami Tuma Antarayami Para Brahma Parameshwara Para Brahma Parameshwara Tuma Sabake Swami Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Karuna Ke Sagara Tuma Palana Karata Swami Tuma Palana Karata Men Sevaka Tuma Swami Men Sevaka Tuma Swami Kripa Karo Bharata Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Ho Eka Goshara Sabake Pranapati Swami Sabake Pranapati Kisa Vidhi Virundaya Maya Kisa Vidhi Virundaya Maya Tuma Kome Kumati Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dina Bandhu Dukha Harta Tumhara Shaka Mere Swami Tumhara Shaka Mere Karuna Hata Badao Karuna Hata Badao Sharana Pada Tere Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vishaya Vikara Mikao Paparo Deva Swami Paparo Deva Shada Bhakti Badao Shada Prema Badao Santana Ki Seva Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dana Mana Dana Kaja Hai Tera Swami Sava Kucha Hai Tera Swami Sava Kucha Hai Tera Tera Tujhko Arpan Tera Tujhko Arpan Kya lage mera Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bhaktajanon ke sankata Dasajanon ke sankata Shana me dura kare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Om Ane Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Mane Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Chakara Ko Chakara Ko Chakara Koji Chakara Ko Chakara Ko Chakara Koji Mane Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Shama Mane Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Govinda Mane Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Vidari Lala Chakara Koji Tvameva Mata Shabita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Shashaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Vrinda Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om Prem se bolo Lakshmi Narayana Bhagavan ki Prem se bolo Shiv Bhutabhrteshwarnath Bhagavan ki Prem se bolo Shri Hare Krishna Kanhaiya Lala ki Prem se bolo Bhavtara Kriya Baba ji ki Prem se bolo Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath ki Prem se bolo Satguru Deva Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Om Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Janavallabhaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantra Yantra Tantra Oshadashta Shastrani Samraj Samraj Vitro Mochaya Mochaya Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Diti Jalaprataya Sarve Shobhana Humpat Parashmaye Parabrahmane Paramadojishe Swaha Om Shanti 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 Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Sham Venkatanamana Govinda Gopika Jivdasmanam Govinda Bhaktavatsala Govinda Pundalika Varade Eknath Namdev Bandalinath Maharaj ki समस्त भक्त मंडली की जय। अल्वार अंकुर मनार थिरुवल्कल शरण